Why do they reach into their own pockets to finance their campaigns? Joining me now, Republican Congressman Peter Hoekstra of Michigan, who served as the Vice President of Marketing for the office furniture manufacturer Herman Miller before entering office. Patrick Byrne is the CEO of Overstock.com, and Dan Gerstein is a political strategist and founder of Dan Gerstein Consulting. Good morning, guys. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congressman, let me start with you. Linda McMahon, she announces she's throwing her hat in the ring. She's going to go up against the current Senator Christopher Dodd as a former marketing executive. Why would the CEO of a very important wrestling corporation throw her hat in the ring?
Well, I think people enter from the CEO world or from the business world or other professions for very much the same reason. They see that there are problems, there are issues. They believe that they can be part of the solution. They believe that they've got a background. I assume that they've got a passion for their state. They've got a passion for this country to make a difference. I think they've got the same motives that most people who enter into politics have. They want to make a difference. They want to improve the state of affairs either in their state or in their country.
But it is now, Patrick, more relevant than ever. I mean, between Meg Whitman and Carly Fiorina and Steve Pagliuca, who Bain Capital runs the Boston Celtics. Patrick, why now?
Well, because we're desperate. I think we're desperate for leadership. We're desperate for effective leadership and people who can get things done. I'm happy about this, but I'd be happy if I heard more farmers were entering politics and more dentists and more guys who ran a toothpaste factory. Anything but anything other than the professional class of politicians will be an upgrade in Congress.
Dan, you're shaking your head.
Well, I think to a certain extent he's right in the sense that there is a desperateness for leadership, but I think there's probably been never been a better window of opportunity for business leaders to jump into politics and be credible, in large part because of what happened last fall. There is a widespread perception among the American people that the politicians in Washington don't understand the economy. They mismanaged it, and to a large degree they did. And so I think a business leader, more so than anyone else, is going to have a platform to talk to the American people about this is what we need to do as a country to fix the problems in our economy, particularly as it relates to our financial service sector, and prevent this kind of collapse from the future. I think the danger for them is, particularly for a CEO, and it's kind of a process thing, but in politics, especially if you're running for the legislature, so you look at Linda McMahon running for the Senate, CEOs are used to saying, do this, and it gets done. That doesn't happen in politics, particularly in the legislative branch. You are one, especially in the Senate, you're one of 100, and you have to get along with your colleagues. And there's a big cultural adjustment that CEOs have to make when they enter politics, especially if they're not running for governor or president, that a lot of them struggle with.
Congressman, I think Patrick made an excellent point, though, and that is the fear, the danger here, though, is what we're saying is in order to become an elected official, you have to have deep pockets. That the doctor, the auto worker, the American citizen can't afford to run for political office.
Well, I think that's one of the real questions out there today is whether grassroots politicians and grassroots politics is still alive or whether it has shifted all the way over to only the people with deep pockets and a lot of money can win. I mean, the landscape is littered with the bodies of potential political candidates who threw in millions of their own dollars, and what they found is that they couldn't transition from the world of business or other professions and move into politics. They couldn't connect with the people at a grassroots level. They might have had a very effective message, but they couldn't connect with the people, and they couldn't win elections. The other thing that you'll see is you'll see people who moved into politics and they maybe won an election, but when they got here, they came in with grandiose ideas and they said, well, we're now going to run this like a business. It's always going to be politics. You can incrementally move the bar over one way or another and perhaps increase effectiveness, but it's still a political world, and you have to develop the skills that enable you to be successful in a very, very different environment we'll find in the business environment. One's not better than the other, but they are very two different environments, and you have to be able to effectively make that transition. A lot of the skills transfer from one profession to the other, but the working environment, the ability for one person to go in and make a difference is very different in the business world than what it is in the political world.
See, it's interesting, Congressman. I actually thought when we were electing Obama last year, I was saying to people, I feel this is where we're basically electing a chief executive officer. The members of the Senate and the members of Congress are our board of directors. I mean, they're supposed to be a voice for the shareholders. And I do almost feel now that you have to know more about Wall Street, about healthcare, about energy and cap and trade. It feels like the responsibility of the role of being a member of Congress is even more acute today than at any other time in history. Am I wrong?
No, I think that you really do have to have that depth and breadth of experience. Coming in with business background absolutely is essential. But the other thing that you may find is that people who come in with the depth and the background, what they may tend to do is they believe, and we're seeing this, and you're seeing it in cap and trade, you're seeing it in healthcare. You're saying we're going to manage this and manage it, in some cases micromanage it from Washington, D.C. They believe that they can manage markets. They could believe that they can manage our economy just like they manage their business. And in reality, that is part of the problem that you see here is people who come in from the free market all of a sudden now are going to start believing in centralized control and control out of Washington. We need to manage from a macro basis here in Washington,
Okay.
set the environment, recognize that things will be complex.